Alright guys, I've done plenty of negative videos on Tom Ford fragrances recently, so today I thought I'd do mostly a positive video on some Tom Ford fragrances. And we're going to the Signature Collection, and there are 4 Parfum fragrances in the Signature Collection, and I'm going to talk to you about them today. Those Parfum fragrances includes Black Orchid Parfum, there's Costa Azzurra Parfum, there is Ombre Leather Parfum, and then finally there's Noir Extreme Parfum. Although the timeline would be Black Orchid, there would be Ombre Leather, and then it would be Costa Azzurra, and then it would be Noir Extreme Parfum. So mostly positive. There is some negative here as well, but I'm highlighting these 4 Parfum fragrances so that you have an idea of getting them or not getting them. If you're fans of them, I personally think some of them are definitely worth it, and I'll let you know all about them coming. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yeah, today we're talking about 4 Parfum concentration fragrances from the house of Tom Ford. There's some good ones here I really enjoy. There's one that I don't think was necessary, especially the way they made it. And then one I'm kind of up in the air about, which I'll let you know what that's all about. But very popular fragrances, of course. This is Black Orchid, originally launched in 2006. And then there's this one here, Ombre Leather. This is the second Parfum concentration, and this came out in 2021. And initially it was launched in 2016 in the private blend collection, and it was put into a signature collection. And then there's the Costa Azzurra. This version came out in 2020, I believe, but it was in a private blend collection, of course, in a blue bottle, and that version I think came out in 2012. And then finally Noir Extreme here. This is the original, which came out in 2015, which is actually flanker of Tom Ford Noir. And then Noir Extreme came out, Noir Femme had come out, which was actually similar. And then finally the Noir Extreme Parfum came out last year, which I actually really enjoy. Out of all the Parfums, I think that's my favorite. And then we're going to talk about them. So let's talk about the Black Orchid Parfum first. This is it right here, and this is the original right here. So this is the one I'm a little iffy about. Do I need it? Do I like it more than the original? I have to be honest, I am not the biggest fan of Black Orchid in general. I like it, I don't love it, so that's how I feel about the Parfum as well. So if I'm in the mood for it, I really do enjoy the Parfum here, but as an overall perfume by itself, it's not one of my favorite fragrances, although it gets a lot of love. I think it's one of the most popular, popular Tom Ford fragrances, and the original was launched in 2006. It was created by Pierre Negrin and Yann Vasnier. Yann Vasnier has 2 fragrances here, and then Pierre Negrin is the only one with this fragrance. And if you guys don't know Pierre Negrin, he created Interlude Man for Amouage. So this originally came out in 2006, and the Parfum version came out in 2020. It currently retails for $230 for the 100 ml, so it's definitely really pricey in comparison to other designer fragrances. There's a sexiness about the Tom Ford fragrances, I agree, so I think because of that they get to charge these prices. I'm just not sure. For me, I like to have these fragrances to talk about. If I was just you know, an average consumer of perfumes, this probably would not be in my collection because it's not one of my wow fragrances. So let me tell you a little bit. It's known for Black Truffle, the original, and then the Parfum. But in addition to the Black Truffle, we've got Black Plum, there's Rum, Ylang-Ylang, Patchouli, Black Orchid. For me, the original is much drier, and then of course the update in Parfum is much stickier and a lot more amberier. So I feel like 3 out of the 4 fragrances I'm going to talk to you about today, they have really boosted up the ambery touch, and you get a sticky feel when you're wearing it. Or I should say sticky presence or experience when you're wearing these 3 fragrances, because they have really boosted the ambery presence in the 3 fragrances. One of them, they've actually made it into much fresher take on the original, which was the disappointing one. But here with the Parfum, everything is amplified, more intensified. You definitely have an ambery touch here. As I said, there's a light fruitiness, not overwhelming, and also the booziness is also not very overwhelming. There's a experience of the booziness there, but for me, lots of Ylang-Ylang with Patchouli, and then of course the Orchid comes in. And they say Black Orchid. I don't know I haven't really noticed of very fragrant orchid fragrances, but they've thrown in that note as a note here. But in the end, it's very floral and gourmand. There's definitely gourmand boozy touches, fruitiness here, but they're minuscule for me. And basically, it's a graduation of the original, which was actually kind of chocolatey and also truffly as well. So there's definitely loads of earthiness here, but floral, sweet, spicy, lightly boozy, lightly fruity. And then, of course, it's warm. And there's definitely the presence of earthiness here and the overdose of amber for me. So as I said, this is not one of my favorite fragrances in general. So if I was just an average consumer, I would not have this in my collection. I have it to have it to speak about. It's Tom Ford in the end, and I'm a collector. I do prefer the Parfum version over the original to have, because I like the whole ambery experience with the Parfum in comparison to the original, which is a lot drier. I'm not the biggest fan of dry fragrances because I have dry skin, and so dry fragrances do kind of evaporate off my skin faster than sticky fragrances, which this has made or become stickier, and I do enjoy that about it. So that's my thoughts on Black Orchid Parfum. You guys should actually, in order to see how the fragrance is or how it wears, I would I would advise that for you guys to get a sample or go test it in a store somewhere. You can probably find all these fragrances fairly easily where fragrances are sold. It's the black, or I should say it's the private collection that's probably not as easy to find for a lot of people that are not at places where they have a lot of different perfumes. So I suggest test these out because they are very, very pricey. So see how it is, how you like it, and see if you like the whole Black Orchid DNA. So up next we've got Tom Ford's Ombre Leather, which is the Parfum version that I'm going to be talking to you about. It is here. The original I think was fine. I think they should have left it as is because I think it did its job perfectly. So the original launched in 2016 in a private blend. It was a very limited launch, and it sold out and kind of like fizzled away. And then like 2 years later, they launched it in the signature line. And I think it's a popular fragrance for Tom Ford and fragrances in general. And so it's a great leather for me. And I feel like they kind of disservice their other fragrance, Tuscan leather. And so because this is somewhat close to that, this kind of skyrocketed the sales, and a lot of people don't talk about Tuscan leather. But originally launched in 2016, brought back in 2018, and then in 2021 the Parfum launched. It's created by Sonia Constant. 100 ml once again is $230. All the Parfums are $230. Very highly priced. Prices have gone up really, really high. Very noticeable in the private blend collection. But the Parfum features notes of black leather, violet leaf absolute, cedarwood, iris, green tobacco, jasmine, sambac. And this is the note, violet leaf note, that came into this particular version of this fragrance that kind of makes the fragrance all fresher. And for me, I don't know, I feel like if we're going to be graduating to a Parfum, why not make it more concentrated and more intense rather than giving it a fresh boost to the fragrance? So that was kind of a disappointing thing for me here with the Parfum. So I personally do not recommend the Parfum. I think the original is totally fine on its own. It smells fantastic. It's a great leather. It works. It's floral. It's very leathery. It's dark. Spicy, sexy. It's definitely sexy. I really think the fragrance itself is a very sexy composition, and I think Sonia Constant did a great job with the original, but I just don't think the Parfum is worth it. For me, it's not. Maybe it is for you. Maybe the violet leaf works for you. Violet leaves creates ozonic touches, so they're watery, crisp, clean, fresh. So why would you freshen up a Parfum? I wouldn't. But then again, I'm not the perfumer. So I don't know what you guys think about the Parfum versus the original. Are you a fan of it? Do you like the original more? Are you not even a fan of this particular fragrance DNA? Let me know. Put some comments down so I can find out. But if I were you, again, go test it out. But I'm just saying, I'm not a fan of the Parfum. I don't think it was necessary because the original is so good on its own. Why bother? And it's already kind of a offspring of Tuscan leather. So we're, kind of like, I don't know what they're doing with creating a Parfum of this fragrance. But as I was saying, I personally don't think it was necessary. So fast forward to the earlier part of 2022, Tom Ford launched Costa Azzurra Parfum, which I started really enjoying this particular fragrance in the aqua version. If you guys have ever sampled it, it was a less expensive collection, and I really liked the aqua version of it. I never got into it when this fragrance was in the private blend. I always felt like it was too expensive, so there you go. Sometimes citruses are great, but sometimes I feel like the citruses are not worth private blend prices. So I never got it. I do own Neroli Portofino though, but I really enjoyed the Parfum. But let me tell you a little bit about the Eau de Parfum. The Eau de Parfum is great, and in this case also it gets a lot more amberier between the Eau de Parfum in the signature line and compared to the Parfum in this bottle. The amberiness is really boosted, so you have that kind of sticky ambery touch here. And I feel like also, even though in the Eau de Parfum the aquatic touches or marine touches that were present in the aqua version are less here, and in the Parfum they're also even further less. So less in the Eau de Parfum, and then even further less in the Parfum version, where I thought in the end the fragrance itself was a marine aquatic fragrance, and I don't get that here, which I shouldn't be complaining about it anyway, because I love the actual DNA of this particular fragrance. It smells fantastic. Probably one of the best cypress fragrances out there. If you like the idea of cypress in fragrances, you definitely need to check out Costa Azzurra, and it's totally inspired by Italy and the coast and the cypress trees there and things like that. So originally launched in 2014 in the private blend collection, and is created by Yann Vasnier, and then of course brought back into the signature line in 2020, I believe, or 2021, and then the Parfum in 2022. Features notes of cypress, oud, lemons, vetiver, oakwood, sea air, myrtle. Myrtle is a great note if you guys don't know it. I really love the way myrtle smells. It's aromatic, a bit floral, it's kind of green and spicy. Really wonderful, and it's here. It's definitely a Mediterranean plant. I used to know it when I was a little kid. We used to have it in my rooftop garden when I lived in the Middle East. But for me, this is a cypress fragrance with lots of oud and lemons. Lemons are key here, and the citrusiness is totally prominent here. It's a beautiful contrast with that kind of green, aromatic, kind of lightly camphoric and herbal aromatic touch of cypress trees, and it works wonderfully together. But it's lots of the cypress, oud, lemons. There's definitely vetiver here as well. And then the sea air, it's pretty light because since the fragrance does get very ambery, I feel like it tones down the kind of marine touches, but it's definitely there, and for me it's the least marine out of the whole entire collection. And I don't even know if they're selling the aqua version of Costa Azzurra. I'm not 100% sure. I really enjoyed that one, and I liked its lightness, and you can overspray it in the summertime and it's not going to overwhelm. But for me right now, Costa Azzurra Parfum is the best in the collection. Really love it. It's a great DNA. Great job by Yann Vasnier, and I'm glad they put this one in the private blend collection because it deserves, and I'm glad they put this particular fragrance in the signature line because I think it deserves it. Because as I said, I shied away from it when it was in the private blend. I just didn't go close to it because I felt like it was too expensive, but I think it's definitely worth it. But once again, it's $230 for 100 ml for the Parfum. Test it out to see if it works for you, see if you like it. Maybe you don't like it. Maybe you get too much marine. I know some of you don't like marine, but some of you really love marine. I get light marine touches there. Mostly it's about the cypress, lemons, and oud for me. And then finally, my favorite Parfum version of a Tom Ford signature line fragrance. It is Noir Extreme Parfum. So if you guys don't know, Noir Extreme, the original, is a flanker to Tom Ford Noir. And it was become the most popular from the whole entire Noir series of fragrances. Noir is still selling. It doesn't sell here, and I believe it still sells in the EU and the UK. So if you're a fan of it, you can get it, although I think you can also still find it at the discounters. But Noir Extreme came out in 2015, and then the Parfum version just came out late last year in 2022. Both fragrances are created by Sonia Constant. 100 ml for the Parfum is still 230 like everything else here. And it features notes of Venezuelan tonka beans, sandalwood, amber, cedar, gaiac wood, cardamom, kahili, ginger, and of course it's very, very spicy. Definitely lots of woods here. There's a sweetness, and the original supposedly had that kulfi ice cream note, the pistachio ice cream note, and you kind of get that. It's not necessarily very pronounced for you to experience, you know, pistachio ice cream. But it's vanillic, it's warm, it's ambery and powdery. For me, the amber touch in here, just like the Costa Azzurra and also the Black Orchid, has been so amped up. You can totally experience its stickiness when you put it on. You have a sticky touch here. It's very sticky. Although I think since it's also concentrated, you can actually feel it as well, but you can totally experience the smell and the notes and ingredients that went into creating this fragrance be very, very sticky. For me, it smells super amazing. That cardamom is so strong when you first spray it, and I absolutely love it. And I think it's a cardamom bomb, but also with the ginger, it's got that zing, it's spice. For me, it's a great contrast of warmth and also freshness, because ginger for me is a fresh spice. Cardamom has got that very fresh, pungent spiciness to it. So it makes for a great contrast with the vanillic and ambery touches, the tonka beans, and also the fresh spices of the cardamom and the ginger. It's a great scent. It's a great DNA. I can see why people love it. I think it's a very, very unisex fragrance. As I had mentioned, there was a Noir Femme version of this, which was lightly amplified with the floral touches. That got discontinued because everybody just bought this, and I think women can totally pull this one off. And of course, women can totally pull off Noir Extreme Parfum as well. It is a great gourmand. It's a gourmand fragrance and totally unisex, I think. So those are my thoughts on the Noir Extreme Parfum. If I was to rank this, it would be number 1, Noir Extreme Parfum. Number 2 would be Costa Azzurra Parfum. Number 3 would be Black Orchid Parfum. And then finally, the 4th place would be Tom Ford's Ombre Leather Parfum. Again, Tom Ford Ombre Leather Parfum I think is unnecessary. If I want parfum, if I want heavy, thick, dense parfum, you know, intensified fragrances, I don't want to I don't want it to be ozonic notes. You know, ozonic notes are fresh for me, and I didn't think it was necessary with that one. But what are your thoughts on these series of fragrances? Let me know. Put a comment down, and if you would rank these 4, how would you rank them? And let's see, which other fragrance is Tom Ford going to release a parfum of? Which fragrance would you like? And actually, maybe let's go to another extent. Which fragrance would you like from the private blend moved over to the signature line? I know a lot of you were, I guess it was kind of a rumor. We're mentioning that Tobacco Oud is supposedly going into the signature line, and I had asked a Estee Lauder rep, and they said that that fragrance would never go into the signature line because it doesn't really sell here. So why would anybody even say that? Because yes, it's kind of discontinued here. You can still buy it in the EU and the UK. It sells there, but nobody really likes it here, or not many people like it here, so they kind of discontinued it. But let's see, which fragrance would we like to see in the signature line of fragrances, which once it launches, it can also become a parfum later. So let me know, put some comments down so I can find out. But either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video, please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.